Hello. Before we start today's episode, if you would like a condensed version of what I'm talking about in this podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the Perfectionist Guide. You can read the entire thing in 3 minutes or less. To access this, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/newsletter. Are you a bit of a perfectionist, type A, hyper performer? Then you know that having the audacity to see an ideal and bring it into reality while breaking generational habits of hustle can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Today, we are talking about progression pain. What I see happen with the high achievers, they were never taught how to deal with pain in a productive way when we're talking about the pain of growth or the pain of doing something new. Instead, what they have done, and I did this, I was so guilty of this, is they buy their way out of pain. You know that you're doing this if you're like, okay, I want to make this progress, but I don't want to experience the pain that comes with it. So I'm going to buy a shortcut. But buying a shortcut is really just a long cut because all that it's doing is you're not increasing your tolerance to handle pain. You're telling your subconscious and your unconscious, we can't handle that. We're not strong enough. We're not powerful enough to do that. And I know that you're not telling yourself this so you can understand and take my wisdom from what happens to you below the surface, below the conscious level, like what is happening with the 97%, the rest of your being. Because remember, conscious brains, right now they're saying it's really only in charge for 3% of all the choices that we actually make. A huge reason why high achieving humans, why we want to avoid it like the plague is because being the beginner is something that we haven't done in a while. All of my private one-on-one coaching clients, they are exceptional. And so they're used to doing something new and being really, really good at it. But there is a difference between talent and skill. So talent is something that comes naturally to you. It's like, oh, I'm really good at this. I get the hang of this. And most of us, when we were younger, we were guided in the way of embracing your talents. For example, I did soccer and soccer wasn't one of my quote unquote natural talents. So after a few seasons, it was like, okay, you're going to do volleyball, you're going to do basketball, you're going to do swimming, you're going to do things that your height is better suited for. Because of that, I didn't develop the skill of being quote unquote bad at something or having it not come as naturally as easy, and then developing the skill of the progression pain that comes with that. After you listen to this episode, you will be able to have the ability to discern the type of pain that you're in and move through it. Because when you have the ability to do that and you have the tools and the wisdom that I'm going to share with you here, it's going to change your life. Microwave results are not something that we're doing. And that is what our conscious brain, especially high performers, they're like, I just want to do this and I want it to be easy or I want it to feel pleasant. The way that you know that this is happening is if when you don't feel that way, you think that something's gone wrong. Nothing's gone wrong. What's gone wrong is that there isn't that tolerance that's built up inside of you. I want to dispel this idea. It is bad to feel uncomfortable. Asking yourself, are you making progress or are you just in pain? I was coaching a one-on-one client last week on her getting up early and having time for herself and boundaries, all of those lovely things. And she was saying that it was uncomfortable for her to get up early and that she just really didn't like to do that. She didn't want to get up any earlier. What happened was her brain was making her think that the rest of her life wasn't uncomfortable and that the only part that was uncomfortable was her getting up earlier in the morning. That is the lie that we need to stop. Progression pain, it's not actually difficult. It is not hard and it is not worse than what you're experiencing right now. What it is it's different. And brains, if something's different, they're going to be like, oh, no, we don't want this. It's going to put up natural resistance because it is uncomfortable. It's like like that saying, like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. The difference is aggression pain is a devil that like you want to have. It is a different flavor maybe of what you're experiencing right now. But this is what is key right here is that the difference is when you're experiencing this pain, this discomfort and undesirable that you would not necessarily choose for yourself, it's what you get on the other side of it. Go back to when you were learning how to ride a bike or to roller skate. You would fall off the bike. I would run into things. You would get bumps and bruises. Like all of that stuff happens when you are learning to ride a bike or learning to roller skate. But on the other side of that, now you know how to ride a bike and roller skate. Like you have a skill that you can propel yourself forward and that you can have means of transportation. Also, riding a bike and roller skating are really fun things to do. I have a bike and it's so much fun. Like I have my pink basket. I have the wind at my hair. Chandler can ride with me. I got a thing for him. Going to the roller rink. I don't know about you, but like roller skating birthday parties were so much fun. It is so much fun to like learn all those things. But what happened in the in-between and what we forget as high performers is, oh yeah, there is that progression pain that comes up, but nothing's gone wrong. When it does go wrong is when there is suffering involved. And suffering is optional. We all have the ability to let the fuck go of suffering, but we haven't been taught this. And in fact, some of our brains think that suffering, making ourselves feel bad about feeling bad, is actually what's going to propel us forward. Now, for more on that, you want to listen to the episode on unconscious motivation patterns. That episode, I lay all of that out for you. Suffering happens when there is the pain of whatever is happening. Let's say you really want to speak up for yourself with your family and you plan to talk to your partner today, but you didn't. Suffering happens when you are resisting that happening and you're not accepting it. You're being like, oh, I should have talked to them. I told my coach I was going to do this. I planned it out. That right there, that is suffering. Another way this is called in personal development sometimes is dirty pain, like clean pain versus dirty pain. I don't really like that because I feel like it's very black and white and patriarchal, but that's where suffering is. It's the resistance of you being a human, really just not accepting your humanness and that this shouldn't be happening. Here are some ways for you to identify that suffering is happening and it is not progression pain that's happening in your life. If you are judging yourself, oh, I should be here, I should have been there, you're not able to look at what's happening with compassionate curiosity. If you are comparing yourself to where other people are, comparison, icky, that is not progression pain. If you are comparing yourself to yourself where you think you should be, notice should, like should is just like such a shortcut. If you are saying should, have to, then look into that. Doubting, if you are doubting yourself, like, oh, well, I probably can't even do this. It's probably not going to work. Just doubting in general, like suffering. If you are making it mean something about you, in this example, you not talking to your partner about something that you wanted to, you're making it mean that, oh, I can't advocate for myself. Another way that suffering happens is when you are putting pressure on yourself, when you are rushing, and when you are using your results against yourself. So let's say that you did talk to your partner, but you got upset during it. And you're like, well, I did talk to my partner like I planned and I advocated for myself, but I got really upset during it and I yelled at him. Like, okay, like you're using your results against yourself. That is not progression pain. And when it comes to progression pain, you really want to look at what you're focusing on and the lens that you're seeing it through. You could decide to like do a lot of low blows to yourself and be like, oh, this is awful. This is hard. This sucks. Man, this like evolving and man, dissolving my internalized depression. Ugh. Man, this sucks. Learning how to be self-compassionate. Ugh, man, I hate this. You can just be angsty if you want to. And I would give yourself the space to do that. Honestly, if like that really needs to come out, like, give yourself a window, schedule it, put it on the calendar, do that. Let it come out if that's how you need to feel. But once you get past that, and when I say past that, meaning it is no longer helpful or productive, you are indulging. When you become a one-on-one private coaching client, I actually have a fun play sheet for you so you can easily tell like whether or not the emotions that are coming up is something that is actually helping you. Is it useful, or are we indulging? You totally could look at the progression that you're going through that way. Much better question to ask yourself, is this useful? Is this useful, the discomfort that I'm feeling, this frustration? And what could be more useful? How do I feel when I believe and think these things? If you're comparing yourself against other people, like what are you believing about yourself? And how is that having you feel like when you think those things? And I can tell you the answer is awful. It doesn't feel good. The way that I like to look at it is if we're in a room together and you have a flashlight and there's a trash can in the room, but there's also flowers. And you could direct that flashlight wherever you want, at the trash or the flower. They're both in the room, but what is going to propel you forward and what is going to help you in the long run and get to the destination that you actually want to get to, what is going to be encouraging for you, what is going to be nourishing for you, is to focus your flashlight on the flowers. I want to give you a great example of progression pain that came up for me a little bit ago. So my coaches, yes, I have more than one. My coaches are all on Eastern time. And sometimes that means that when there are events, they start at 8 a.m. Eastern time, which is 5 a.m. Pacific time here in California. And I'm talking like on camera, ready to go, dressed, everything's there at 5 a.m. Pacific time. So for me, that meant waking up probably at, I think it was like 3:30 a.m. So I had plenty of time to take care of my dog and family, and then also shower, get myself ready, do my intentional source time I do each morning. Now, when I first saw these times that we were meeting, I was misty. Also, this was over a weekend too. I should just add that. It was like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I was angsty about it. I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. My brain even debated with me like, well, do I even have to be on camera? There actually is one person who is a time zone behind me. She is in Hawaii. So it was even earlier for her, but I was just thinking, one is like in Europe or on the East Coast time. Like my brain had all these thoughts about it. But instead, I was asking myself, how could I lean into the progression pain here? I asked myself, would I be towards it? Would I be having any of these thoughts or feelings or the energetic around it? And the answer was fuck no. For some of you, maybe it's not the impact. Maybe it is making millions of dollars, but put in there whatever it is one of like your biggest dream right now and ask yourself if you had any resistance towards it. If the answer is no, then like that's the difference right there. Progression pain is when you are working out and like, yeah, it's not supposed to feel comfortable. Like I personally am disappointed if I work out with my boxing coach and I'm not like super sore the next day. It means that you still have room to grow. It's a really, really good thing, this progression pain that happens. The reason why you aren't necessarily interpreting it as a good thing is because you have suffering on top of it, because you haven't been taught how to discern between pain that is actually good for you and pain that isn't. I use the example of when you are working out, there's a difference between, okay, man, I'm really stretching this versus your muscle is atrophied and now you're doing something that's going to injure yourself. That's the difference. And what we do inside one-on-one coaching and what I want to give you with this episode is for you to see that there is a difference there. Being disappointed that, hey, this was something that like you were really going for and it didn't happen, that is progression pain right there, because it meant that you went all in on this and you believed in it. And then when it didn't happen, you're like, I'll deal with the disappointment later. Dealing with the disappointment means that you're growing. What is not progression pain is when you are blaming yourself and you're like, oh, well, it didn't happen because of this, or I knew that this wasn't going to happen, or shaming yourself, or you just gloss over it and you're like, well, I didn't really want that anyway. So there is pain, there is discomfort, and there is disappointment that comes up. There's insecurity that comes up, all these things that come up. It is okay. And if you don't have a set of beliefs or intentions that is normalizing and allowing yourself to give yourself compassion and accepting these less than glamorous parts of your own experience, you are going to have an excruciatingly difficult time making progress. You got to develop a strong set of beliefs and a progression pain protocol around the challenging, uncomfortable stuff. Like, this is the difference between a positive approach that I do not do and an effective approach, which is what we're about here. You want to have a lot of intention around the challenging parts of life. We don't want to gloss over them, ignore them, deny them, or try to change this foul, uncomfortable stuff as fast as humanly possible in order to get away from the discomfort of it. That doesn't work. Like, buying your way out of a shortcut, it doesn't work because you're always going to be limited. There's this quote that I said at one point. It was really brilliant. I don't have it in front of me. My human design hotties, this is where all of my openness comes up, my undefined head and my undefined ajna. It says that the limits that you refuse to master will be the limits that you never transcend. And that, I believe that's what I said. It was something beautiful and brilliant. And that is what is happening when you are trying to buy your way out of this progression pain. Then you're also dependent upon all these other outsourcing things and resources. I used to outsource everything. I outsourced washing my hair. I went to Dry Bar several days a week. I outsourced getting my gas. There was this app called Purple that would come to my car and fill me up. I outsourced meal delivery service. I outsourced everything because in my mind, I was like, I'm just too busy. Like, I can't handle it. And that didn't work. Well, because the pandemic happened. And also, I never developed the skill of actually being able to progress through it. And so it is a sharp lesson that you will learn if you are avoiding progression pain. We want to have an intentional practice around accepting and loving and forgiving yourself for being human and recognizing that you have signed up for growth. And that is the only reason why so much of it is uncomfy. If you never wanted to grow, if you weren't interested in learning anything new, you would just live with the pain you have. You would just live a life of unfulfilled dreams and desires and mediocre existence. But that's not you. Anytime that we level up, there is this uncomfy that is involved. And it's not only tolerating it, right? Imagining like white knuckling, like tolerating, like I'm fine, which, by the way, fine, feelings inside not expressed, like you're not fine. Get honest with yourself. But really accepting and loving the hard parts of it. These are crucial ingredients in order for you to have effective growth. Now, notice if you are all about really sexy, positive beliefs and intentions and calling it a day, even though you're not really getting the results that you want, that's something to look at. Like progression pain, that is your work. If you are taking risks, if you are getting out of your comfort zone, if you are learning, if you really are moving forward, that's what you need to look at. You need to be doing things that make you deeply uncomfortable on a regular basis. It's extremely difficult to do on your own. That is literally why I offer one-on-one coaching, because it is the most liberating experience you will ever have in your life, but it is also deeply uncomfortable. And being deeply uncomfortable when you haven't been taught that before, really how to handle it, having someone else there for yourself, also to spot you. I'm there to make sure that you don't get injured and that your muscles don't completely atrophy. So you're out for weeks and weeks and weeks. You want to be cataloging and examining your pain, the icky, the ouchy, the uncomfy, and looking at it and taking it out of the box and asking yourself, is this actually working? Is this serving me? Is this helping me get further to my goals or farther away? Is this pain working and moving you forward every single day? Progression pain takes a lot more intention. It takes a lot more deliberate thinking and the willingness to be a scientist and step away and look at the big picture and be like, is this working? Like, am I deeply uncomfortable? And not from a blamey, judgy way, but from a place of compassionate, playful curiosity. If you noticed in this episode that holy cannoli, holy wow, I read you like a menu. If you're nodding your head yes, listen closely because I might have the solution you've been searching for. My Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, a 6-week, highly individualized one-on-one coaching experience designed exclusively for perfectionists like you. Your perfectionism is actually your greatest asset, and leveraging it can be hard work or take years of guesswork. That's why in Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator, I give you my key frameworks to taking charge of your Ferrari drive, proven to work even for the most type A, high-strung, stubborn perfectionists. In the first 30 days, you will cut your burnout in half, increase your professional fulfillment by at least 150%, and your self-compassion will go up at least 250%. And that is just your first 30 days. So if you want to save yourself years of trial and error, go to CourtneyLoveGavin.com/accelerator today. Or if you want to take the easy way, just click the link in the show notes to check out the Perfectionism Rewired Accelerator.